when there's an injustice, whether it's against you or someone you love or someone you believe in, stand up. Don't sit down. Don't sit down on them, because they need you.
Hey everybody, welcome to Popcorn Planet. We are live after the trial. Sorry for the delay today. The court went a little later and we had to organize our clips, get a little bit more better. We're learning as we go as this trial continues. And man, now that we really got into the trial, there's a lot to break down. We got Johnny's opening arguments, we had Amber's opening arguments, and we had our first witness of Johnny Depp's sister. We're going to try and break it down for you as concisely as we can. I've clipped together some highlights from the opening arguments. And we also have the real Laura B here, who was there in the court. Are you there, Laura?
Hey, how are you guys?
Oh my goodness.
I'm tired.
I bet you're tired. I know. I won't try to keep you too long. I appreciate you making the time here. You were there in the court. I got to know, how does it feel being so close there, witnessing it happen? Johnny, Amber are there. What are the feelings in the courtroom as you're there in person?
Oh, it's just amazing. I mean, I don't pay much attention to Amber's side. I see she has a handful of lawyers. They're all very rigid. It's her. There's four, including her, sitting in the front two tables, and then behind her is a row. Eve is there. Eve Barlow's there.
Oh, yeah.
Johnny's side, we see a lot of patting on the back, camaraderie. Mm-hmm. He's got a few friends there with him, some of the security, some of his, I won't say friends, his team. And, oh my God, you got me up there.
Am I allowed to show this?
Yeah, I guess, sure. I already posted a picture.
I know. I figured this wasn't like when you that both you and that Brian fellow finally had on face unveils. It was incredible. But there you were live. I saw you and like, oh my God, I see them. But I was noticing you in there. But yeah, you had good seats it seemed. So you really got to get a sense. We got Kim here. We got Robin Redbreast, who've been helping behind the scenes following this case. Thank you both for being here, and thank you for all the hard work today, as well as Linda's got stepped up like crazy, transcribing all day along with Kim to help us with our notes. Incredible
and
work.
In the back
Casey
too.
as well. I saw Linda always is in the notes, but everybody in that group who was helping today, I just want to thank you profusely because it was amazing. And if anybody else in the team wants to help us with their fact checking or researching, please let us know, because I'm trying my best. It's been a lot of work today to get all this out, but all for a good cause. So I want to come back to you, Laura, because you were there. Yeah. We're going to go through this opening edit. We're going to go through everything, so bear with me. But again, atmosphere in the courtroom, you made a good point. I see a lot of camaraderie with Johnny's side. I'm sure that's also on purpose, let's be real. But they definitely are trying to make it very nice and loving and supportive of each other. I don't get that vibe when I see it's very cold and firm and tough on the other side. You clearly are getting that vibe fully in the courtroom itself.
Yeah. This is nice because we don't see their faces. We just see the back of Ben. But if you look behind his right shoulder, there's Eve Barlow.
Where? Oh yeah, there she is. Oh, thank you. Now you've told me. Oh yes. Eve Fartlow. Sorry to use your hate name, Eve. But yeah, fascinating. All right, so I want to go through some of this. We're gonna watch. I've compiled this shorter, guys. Just so you have a quick update, I'm gonna start loading raw clips, pieces I feel like are important that we're talking about in the show over on my second channel, Hugging the Cactus. You can watch the full opening argument without any edits over there. I'll upload Amber's as well later. I'm gonna put some clips there just so you guys can see it if you want to. There's a lot of places to get the footage, but I want to make sure you guys have at least an easy place here. We may also stream the trial tomorrow, probably on Hugging the Cactus, which I may just make public. So a lot of you were wondering, another place to find without commentary. So stay tuned. Subscribe to Hugging the Cactus to get some more updates when we aren't live. Laura, anything else you just want to say before we start playing the clips of just surprises or biggest sort of takeaway today on day two?
Well, some of it's just fun with the type of people you see. If you look back in the corner to the right, yeah, that's a lady that showed up in a raccoon hat.
Did you get to say hi to them?
No, I didn't get a chance to say hi, but we saw her show up, and I was like, oh, that's a different look.
What is the process?
I'm used to.
What the process to get in? Are people being kept away? Is it pretty easy to get into this?
It's limited. There's only so many seats, and if you don't get enough seats, you go in the overflow room. And I was in the overflow room yesterday, and you see all the big screens, so you see what you need to see. I think would be the same as if you sat home. But
do you see the screens unedited? Outside. You have all the feeds unedited?
We have it unedited, other than they turn the volume off. So when there's a sidebar, you don't get to hear. So they either turn the volume up or they put up a white noise.
That's what they do for us too.
Accidentally hear them.
Yeah,
you can accidentally hear them.
We have that same issue. But my point is, you have multiple screens with Amber, with Johnny. There are multiple angles you're looking at all at once.
In the backup room, in the main courtroom, the only screens are being used for exhibits.
Yeah, for those of you watching at home, it seems like each feed that you're watching, some of them are actually getting they're editing the feeds themselves, or it's unclear. I know some of the feeds are now striking channels for showing it. We're in a mess here. I don't understand why. This should all be free, easy footage for everyone to get. But anyway, it's not. All right, so you're getting a sense. You got in the room, limited there, but you got to get there early, get the number.
I love what they're doing. They're giving out armbands, so you're done for the day. You're either in or you're out.
Yeah.
There's no waiting around for the lunch break trying to steal somebody's seat to get in there. There's not a second lineup. It's one and done for the day. I fully support that. You're either in or you go home.
Well, great. Let's go through this again. If you need to dip out because I know you're tired, feel free. Or I want to get through some of the commentary. Yeah. But overall summary from me, I posted a video, my reaction. I think Johnny won compared to the two openings. We're going to see some select clips here of Johnny's. I put more in Johnny's just because I thought they did a better job. I'm going to be honest. Elaine started a whole word salad with Amber. I couldn't even believe they brought up the feces. Before I even get the clips. I'm
wondering if she made a big mistake, but we'll get to it there.
Yeah, we'll get so. But Kim, Robin, thank you for being here. Just overall, quickly, based on what you saw, who do you think won, Kim, on the opening arguments alone?
Oh, Johnny won, hands down.
And you were listening objectively, I'm hoping, yes?
Yeah, oh, absolutely. My whole issue was that with Amber's team, I didn't understand how the whole point here for them is saying that the article was not about Johnny, but yet they kept on using examples from the article to describe Johnny.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah, it makes no sense. Is it about Johnny or not? She's the biggest hypocrite. She's all over the place. Robin, objectively, I know you're a Johnny fan, but you were watching, I imagine, objectively too. Who do you think won based on these opening arguments?
JD, and the first example I'll give is the first thing that Amber's defense said when they came on was to point out that Chu and JD just outlined like these three things and tried to frame the narrative as if JD and Chu are just going to stick to those three things, and that's not it. It was the opening argument, and they made the three most relevant points, and then Amber's defense tried to use that as a point of contention, and it was just ridiculous.
Yeah, the other problem with Amber's is I don't really want to play it in its entirety because I want to do more homework to fact check it, because I felt like there was a lot of stuff they were putting in that just wasn't true or accurate. Laura, were you getting that vibe as well? I'm sure you were getting frustrated hearing some of that.
I got frustrated. I understood the point they were doing with the op-ed. They were trying to say, let me read you this hugely long op-ed so these three statements get lost and forgotten. But the bottom line is defamation, the absolute truth is the defense. And if 2 years ago I was a victim of domestic violence and you weren't, you defamed him. And if everybody knows, it's defamation by inference because everybody knows who he's talking about. From Amber's side, that was the op-ed part, that they're driving home, free speech. That was first half. The second half, after a while, it felt like she was testifying, not giving an open statement. It felt like more, and she introduced some new stuff, and I'm wondering if she made a mistake because, this is just the one off the top of my head. In the UK, they had claimed 3 sexual assaults. One for Hicksville, which she never even brought up in this one. None of those witnesses are on the list, so I guess Hicksville altogether is out. One in the Bahamas, which you remember Tara Roberts is like, we were up here at the main cafe fighting, and she's like, oh, no, you don't. She's got it wrong. We were at the house fighting, and that was right after I got sexually assaulted. And then Tara goes, yeah, but the next day you did the photo shot, so that was supposed to be the next one. And there was one in Australia we knew about. Well, now they talked about the Australian one, and now they've introduced a brand new one for her birthday.
Right.
Now, why would they have just now introducing that after she had the opportunity in the UK to say, these are my sexual assaults, period? So I'm wondering if there was a little slip up there.
Yeah, there was a lot. And we'll get to. I'm going to play these clips for you guys, and I'll try and put some time codes so you get the breaks of where the clips start. But Elaine, my God, it was really hard for me to keep attention. She was all over the place with her commentary, dropping out names that, like, I followed this case, right? And I was having trouble following her. She was speeding through things so quickly that, again, objectively trying to look at it, I had no clue what she was talking about, the connections she was making. Then she brought up the pooping on the bed. Like, why would you even bring up? Yeah, well, she has a feces. What was it? A feces disorder. We're trying to get
the or something like that.
Oh my God, it was just a complete mess. And I'm just like, what are you doing?
She also talked about. She also got mixed up because she said an IO came over and they hadn't cleaned up yet. Well, she's obviously mixing that up with May 21st because that's where they said they didn't clean up. Because it's very clear in the text for the Corden show that she had Kevin come up and said, hey, you need to bring the cleaners up here before IO arrived. So why was hair still on the floor? Why was there? So when she said they hadn't cleaned up yet, wrong incident. You're getting your story screwed
Right.
up again.
That's the problem. They're telling so many details, and you can sense it, that I really do feel like they're all getting their stories mixed up. And then to make it even worse, when the sister came on, they spent so much time arguing about the drug use. Where it was like, well, did you text to stop the pills? Did you stop the drug? Honestly, I was frustrated with Johnny's sister because I'm like, just say yes. Just say yes at a certain point. Just because he was on drugs doesn't mean he did these things. So I appreciate what she's doing, but there's no association to me of him saying that. Because there's so many things she could have said of like, yeah, I may have said that because Amber wanted it, or I don't know. I appreciated the context, but it started going so much that I'm so frustrated with the way it was going. Go ahead, Laura.
I don't know if you could see what we could see. We knew that there's a lot of stuff that is not admissible. It's right now. It's absolutely not admissible unless somebody steps in it. And they were trying to get Christy to step in it so they could make these messages back in. It was very hard at first because she was trying to wrap her answers, looking at these texts like, I'm not allowed to talk about this. It'll make it admissible. So she was trying to govern her answer the best she could to not step in it.
Right.
So I give her credit for that.
It was a tough role she had, the sister.
Yeah. And I'm talking not on Ben's side. That's a different story. But on the cross, she was being very strong to say, look, I didn't buy her shit. I didn't buy what she was saying. She exaggerated. So for me to say to Johnny, those texts is almost like, stop the booze, stop. It's almost like she's saying, I'm tired of your wife whining at me. Whatever she thinks she's done, whether you've done it or not, stop this, stop that, stop that. Stop bothering me with it.
Yeah, I mean, well, I was going through some of the legal commentary, and you're 100% right, Laura, but I feel like she is stepping in it because now they're unearthing more texts to get her to understand and remember, and that was my worry of just like.
Well, she is stuck between a rock and a hard place, in that one, because she needs to try and explain herself without getting this evidence introduced, and I think she was in a tough place. I mean, she was in a tough place. This is the first time. I mean, she's had a deposition, but she wasn't in the UK trial. I don't know what she did in 2016 as far as depositions, but yeah, she was trying very hard to stick to the rules and still answer the question. She goes, I do not know the context. I do not believe he was having cocaine issues. I knew about the prescription part. Yes, I knew he was drinking. I didn't think it was a problem, but she's being harangued by Amber with these texts, and I'm so glad that we can see they're not admissible so far. Because she did that with everybody. Yeah,
I mean, it was interesting because there was another point where they were trying to get her on like, well, you're employed by Johnny, you have a stake in the company, and she was very good at the answer, like, well, I have a salary, but you seem to be implying, do I have stake in this company? I don't. Well, don't you have a vested interest? Yada yada. They were really trying to make it seem like everything she's saying is invalid because she's paid.
And I immediately thought. Yeah, I'm sorry. I don't mean to jump over you.
No, please. You're the expert.
I don't mean. I think what she was saying was what any reasonable person believes. I don't have stock in the company. I'm not a partner. I don't own a percentage of this company. I'm just a salary. And as much as he was trying to push, you have a vested interest. Well, vested means stocks. It doesn't mean basic paychecks. Because then everybody in the world who works for a company's got a vested interest, and that's just stupid.
Right. Any salary employee is a vested in their company, which is completely false. All right. Well, let's start back because I know some of you maybe didn't get a chance to see, and that's the point of this. For those of you wondering why we call her Amber Turd, it's not just because we're being immature, silly. It's because she took a crap in his bed, guys, and the lawyer, even her own lawyer, had to bring it up in her opening defense to try to get ahead of it, I guess, which is just really disturbing on its own level. But all right. But before we get there, I do want to focus a little bit on Ben's opening, which I thought was really stellar. Laura, you got that vibe too? Did you feel like this was a very strong opening?
Yeah, I liked it a lot. I really got a lot. And I at first when Camille got up, I'm like, wait, are we not going to? And then Camille did a great job too. I love the way they separated the two, so it's more memorable in the jurors' minds that this is about the op-ed and this is about how we're going to prove the abuse or the non-abuse.
So here are some clips here, and again, this is important because this is sort of, you're getting a sense of what the whole case is. So I did focus a little bit more on this edit to trim a lot of the fat and what I thought was unnecessary. Here are the main points.
Built a reputation as one of the most talented actors in Hollywood. Today, his name is associated with a lie. This is a defamation case. It's a case about how devastating words can be when they are false and uttered publicly. That's because words matter. They paint a picture in our mind based on what we have experienced and what we know.
And first of all, it's beautiful that they have more angles now to really show us Amber and the eye rolling, because she's way more under pressure and sort of, I feel like, the reactions. I mean, Johnny is too, to an extent, but Johnny's just, I heard, was drawing pictures of elephants and stuff and trying to like zone out. But Amber's clearly, there were a few eye rolls we already caught her on in day 2. So
or what we think we know. And because of that, words can evoke strong emotions in the listener and cause irreparable harm to a person's reputation. This is a case about the impact of Amber Heard's words on Johnny Depp in an op-ed published in the Washington Post in December 2018. And the op-ed was published, and this is no accident, the evidence will show, on the eve of her first major acting role in the movie Aquaman.
I'm glad they pointed that out too, because that was a break there. It really was right as Aquaman was happening, and they're doing a very smart job of setting the tone of like, this was all for publicity. This was all to help her career. She had this big movie role. Let's ride the Me Too wave, and they get more into it as we go.
Three statements that
so they focus on these 3 statements.
Ask each of you to focus on. I spoke up against sexual violence and faced our culture's wrath. 2 years ago, I became a public figure representing domestic abuse. I had the rare vantage point of seeing in real time how institutions protect men accused of abuse. Ms. Heard did not use Mr. Depp's name in the op-ed. She didn't have to, because the evidence will show that everyone in Hollywood knew exactly what she was talking about when she used the word 2 years ago.
I mean, I'm pausing again just because who else is she talking about? 2 years ago was when you filed it, and he's going to get into those more specifics.
2 years earlier, Ms. Heard had publicly accused Johnny Depp of domestic abuse. You will learn during the trial that Ms. Heard's actions were prompted by Mr. Depp's request for a divorce.
Now, it should also be important, Laura, right? Help me out and panel.
Yeah.
They signed a divorce settlement. He's going to touch upon that too, to just not talk about any of this anymore. Correct?
Yep.
She
Yep.
couldn't.
Yep.
She
Absolutely.
couldn't resist it. And after everything we moved on, they settled. It seemed like, all right, this horrific marriage is over. She went and she became a mouthpiece for the Me Too movement when she thought that could really help her career and stick it to Johnny. Factual?
Very factual. In fact, a lot of people don't realize that. Let's go back a little bit. I think it was September/October 2018. Johnny did his GQ UK interview where he doesn't mention her. He says, look, I'm not the person that would do that kind of thing ever, right? He's denying these allegations. She sued him. A lot of people don't know that. That's what kicked this off. She sued him in October. It went to arbitration, which is required in their divorce. It was heard by an arbitrator judge, and however she filed it, whether she wants to claim she filed it right, wrong, or indifferent, the judge said no, and he dismissed it. And they're like, oh, it was a technicality. And they're like, fine, did you refile it? And they're like, no. What she did instead was, I'll retaliate and write this op-ed. You
And just for those,
talk about me? I'm going to talk about you without naming you. Go ahead.
and then for those just know who the voice is, the real Laura B over on Twitter. She's had a podcast with Jax. They've been on the show, The Road to Fairfax, and she's been there both days now in Fairfax following this. So really glad to have you here. Make sure you follow her on Twitter. I appreciate you making the time. But yes, well said.
The evidence will show.
Oh, sorry. No, go ahead.
No, I just don't want people to forget that part, that she shot the first cannon over the bow, if you will.
She did, right. And they try to make it seem like it was his doing. It's all his problem.
That 6 days after Mr. Depp requested a divorce, and he did so politely, and 3 days after Ms. Heard's lawyer threatened Mr. Depp with claims of abuse if he did not agree to her financial demands.
I want to pause again on how important that is, that we forget sometimes about it. They were supposed to. Thank you, buddy. I appreciate it. Love you, dude. Sorry, smoothie delivery from my son since I've been working all day. Thank you, Diego. It's really important that we not forget that, right? Because it's like she wanted to get paid by him in a settlement, like agree to these terms or else type of thing before it goes. That is just so sickening in its own way. Go ahead.
Are you hungry?
Oh, sorry. Was that Laura? I think Laura's talking to someone else there.
I'm sorry. I just needed to check something.
No
We're
worries.
good
You can
for a
mute
few
it.
more minutes. I'm going to have to start a dinner sometime because we're going to pass out.
Oh,
We're
yeah,
good for a little while.
Go. But yeah, it's sickening to know that was part of the negotiating tactics. And then, oh, well, you didn't pay me? Well, now I'll go destroy your life.
Ms. Heard arrived at the courthouse in Los Angeles, California, to file for a restraining order alleging abuse. The evidence will show that Ms. Heard showed up with a mark on her face that mysteriously appeared 6 days after she last saw Mr. Depp. The evidence will show that her publicist and the paparazzi were there at the courthouse to document the event, to make sure that Johnny Depp's name was forever associated with the image of an innocent, battered woman.
I mean, the fact that paparazzi were there, she had to call them. How would they have known she was about to file that report? They wouldn't have.
Oh, right. They want to suggest that Depp called TMZ on himself. That's what they're going to try and say. That TMZ's in Laura's monster's back pocket, and they're the ones that must have leaked it. That makes sense.
Yep.
It was a jolt. It was a shocking story, splashed across front pages across the country.
Now, the only argument, because I'm going to be unbiased, guys, some of you might get mad at me. I noticed him get a little bit more theatrical there. It was a jolt when she did this. He became it, and it's true. I'm not negating it. These court hearings have not helped him, and they do make that out. It's the one argument I've heard on Amber Sire. I'm like, Johnny's constant fighting of it is only making it worse to the degree of some people. I think he's fighting for his innocence, right? That's what it is. I understand. I've been there, but that's the only thing where I'm like, I noticed it. They clearly, because they have to make it clear that this moment was the reason why it all went to hell. And it did, right? Because it was the first time she accused him of it. But I know some critics are trying to make a point of like, well, Johnny hasn't helped himself. It's a fair argument, guys. But at the same time, that's what justice for Johnny is. It shouldn't have ever been charged in the first place.
No one had ever, in 5 decades, no one had ever accused Johnny Depp of being abusive of any kind with a woman.
Now, that was interesting too, Laura, because I if you noticed it, they objected. They objected that moment. And then lost the objection. And he came back and continued to be like, yep, and said it again. No woman has ever come forward and labeled him with abuse, which I thought was very good to hear. Because again, Vanessa Paradis, Winona Ryder, both of them, long-term relationships, are there in his defense saying this is not the man we know. There's no
Depp's
monster.
mother, Betty Sue, passed away on May 20th after a long illness.
Now, I'll be honest, I didn't know all this. Laura, did you know all this, to the details of this?
Yes.
This was part of the case that I didn't get as deep into, so it was really good. I thought that they brought this up, the timing of everything and the relationship with his mother. It's going to come in later as we go through the sister when she came on, but basically setting up the story that Johnny Depp's mother was basically Amber Heard, let's just say it as quickly as possible, and that Johnny had developed coping mechanisms to sort of just deal with it. And so that was telling. His mom, so there was clearly an issue with his mom, family, that abuse he suffered. He saw his father suffer, and so this is something that has been weighing on him. His mom dies, and then after his mom's death, he finally gets the strength to divorce this woman who clearly is his mom. It is really how it felt. Yeah. Robin, I'll go to you because I know I think it was you in the chat. You got that vibe. Like Johnny clearly has a problem. He's just married someone similar to his mom is what it feels like to you, right?
Yeah. And it happens more often than you think, so.
I was going to say, especially after Christie's testimony, that's where I felt was effective.
Yep. What
they were going through and how, no, abuse doesn't necessarily begat abuse. They looked to their father that he always left. He ran away from the mother. And that's what they did when she was in one of her moods. We all left. So the pattern's not established that they're going to beat back. The established pattern that they're going to avoid confrontation. They're going to run from it. And that's exactly what he was doing. And after she passed, and that was finally out of his life, he realized, you know what? This is not how life is supposed to be. This is not how love is supposed to be.
Correct. Mm-hmm.
And for reasons that Mr. Depp will personally explain to you, throughout the course of this trial, he had resolved to divorce Ms. Heard. So on May 21st, Mr. Depp came by the apartment that he shared with Ms. Heard in the Eastern Columbia building to tell her that, to pick up his things, and to say goodbye. There is no dispute that soon after Mr. Depp ended things with Ms. Heard and left the apartment on May 21st, he got on a plane to head out on a European tour, a music tour, for months with his band, the Hollywood Vampires. And Ms. Heard knew that he was going off on tour and out of state when she walked into court to get the restraining order.
No, this is hugely telling. And just guys who are joining us, I've trimmed, this was a much longer piece. I've trimmed it to give you sort of the most important moments. I felt like if you want to watch the full unedited version, you can over in Hugging the Cactus. But this was really telling as well. I mean, I knew this, but I love the way he's painting this picture. She knew he was leaving. She knew he was going on a world tour to get out of the way. Why do you need a restraining order for the guy who's literally leaving the country and you know it?
Which she obtained ex parte.
And then this
Latin
reveal.
Word, fancy word, but all it means is that Mr. Depp and his lawyer were not there.
So she sets this press release moment. She does it on a day where she knows he's not even going to be around to file this restraining order. They can't fight it or have any response. She just gets it and does it with TMZ there. This was clearly something intentional.
Had no opportunity to be heard. The police officers will testify that they saw no injuries on Ms. Heard. Nor did the police officers see any of the property damages that you will hear Ms. Heard claims existed. You will also hear from multiple witnesses who, like the police officers, saw Ms. Heard between May 21 and May 26. And those witnesses will testify that they saw her without any marks, any signs of injury on her face. And you will hear from multiple witnesses that they saw a surveillance video from the week of May 21st that showed Ms. Heard's sister, Whitney, throw a fake punch at Ms. Heard's face. Ms. Heard acting out being punched, responding to the fake punch, and the two laughing at her. Would anyone ever joke about that?
Would you guys joke? Would you guys seem to be recreating the punch of Johnny Depp? I mean, this is hugely damning. Have we seen that surveillance footage? Has it come out, Laura?
No, it was out. There's a very big confusion on it. Trinity Esparza will recount that she said, "Hey, I'm pulling all this. Do you want this?" And there was some confusion about what videos were supposed to be saved. And I don't know what happened that one got discarded, basically, in some mix-up.
So we're on but
it was seen by multiple people.
So the witnesses who saw it are there. Sadly, we don't have the clip. My God, that's frustrating.
Right.
If there had been actual abuse, much less, ask yourself, would a sister ever joke with an alleged victim about being punched by her husband? None of this contradicting evidence was publicly available when Ms. Heard walked into court on May 27th and got her restraining order. Instead, as you can imagine, the media storm was instantaneous. The evidence will show that Mr. Depp and Ms. Heard eventually settled their divorce out of court. Thereafter, Ms. Heard dismissed her restraining order against Mr. Depp. But Ms. Heard's false claim that Mr. Depp had abused her remained in the public sphere. In the wake of the Me Too movement, and just before the release of Ms. Heard's role in the movie Aquaman, Ms. Heard chose to remind the world about the festering allegations, this time under the banner of an international newspaper, The Washington Post. But this time with a wider audience primed to take action against industry powerhouses accused of abuse.
So basically, she weaponized Me Too at the time where she could, when her movie was going on, and it's hard to dispute that one. She clearly did. Why didn't this come up, Laura, 2 years before? What, in your opinion?
Back me up one more. I missed the last.
Oh, I mean, I was setting you up to say because it didn't happen, but why do you think she didn't bring this up to you? These allegations. Why do you think she waited till the Me Too movement and wait 2 years to bring this up?
Oh, she waited. What happened was, I think, the ACLU, she made the donations. She didn't, but people thought she made the donations. That suddenly made her credible. And people jumped on the wagon as an activist. And ACLU were like, oh my God, we could use Johnny Depp abused her, whoever her is, if they didn't care, to get this bill passed. They were trying to get this violence against women reestablished, that act. And what's funny is it expired before, but her op-ed came out for Aquaman. She delayed it and delayed it and delayed it. however way, and it came out for Aquaman, not for the Violence Against Women Act. Came out late.
Yeah, it was like almost marketing for Aquaman, which is insane.
Ultimately,
Well, it was still, I believe it was retaliation.
That too, yeah.
this trial is about clearing Mr. Depp's name of a terrible and false allegation. Please carefully consider the evidence. Assess the reliability and credibility of that evidence, and to make your own determination about what actually happened between Mr. Depp and Ms. Heard.
So there you go. That's the first. That was Ben Chu's opening. The best parts that I thought that it's really summed up what I thought was a really well done. Kim, Robin, either you have any other comments to add on that first opening?
I thought it was great. I thought they did a really good job. Honestly, I did.
To the point, most salient points, outline. If they're just opening statements, they don't have to present every detail of the case. They're just opening statements.
Right, and they did. I didn't trim too much, but it really did feel like he was just more concise. And we'll get to Amber's in a minute. But then, sorry, it's Camille. What's the other attorney's name?
Vasquez.
Thank you, Camille Vasquez.
Is this
steps up next?
This is still part. I think this is still part of Ben. Now we know she had the IME done. We know that she had to have some testing done. And I thought it was great that he slipped that in there. Amber is profoundly troubled person manipulating Depp and others. So they pulled that in a little bit. Remember, what they ever say in the opening, they have to somehow prove it. If they don't, it's going to come back and say, hey, you said this and didn't prove it, which is where I think Elaine's going to get hurt on. You said this, and that's not what happened. You didn't prove it.
And I see your comments, guys. We'll get to them in a minute. I just want to make sure we get through the recaps, and then we'll wrap through. If I see a major something to interrupt, I will try to my best. But thank you guys for the support. It keeps it going. All our coverage, and I might need to hire an editor. So yeah, no, your funds will go towards the reporting. So I appreciate you guys. I see you. I will get to you in a minute. But let's go through Camille's testimony.
You're going to hear evidence about Ms. Heard. You're going to learn that she's a profoundly troubled person.
Now, this audio is bad. Apologies. I tried my best. This was on the feeds part.
It's bad everywhere.
It's bad all over.
Everywhere.
I couldn't fix it. But she says you're going to find out Amber's a very troubled person. We're going to try and go through this.
Who manipulates the people around her, just like she manipulated Mr. Depp.
I love that opening. She manipulated everyone around her just like she manipulated Johnny Depp. And knowing the story, get ready, guys, because I'm just so excited for them to start explaining, all the credibility problems that we've already gone through, the people she's made lie, et cetera, et cetera. It's going to get ugly for her.
Mr. Depp and Ms. Heard first met in 2009 on the set of the film The Rum Diaries. There was a significant age difference between them. And at first, he avoided her advances. But she pursued him.
I love this.
The evidence will show that Ms. Heard went to great lengths to win him over by playing the doting girlfriend. And it worked. He fell head over heels in love with her.
So they're setting up the tone of, she was using him from day one. That was always what this was about. She knew she saw a big star in her sights. I'm gonna score. I'm gonna get me a big fish. Woo woo!
Those who watched this relationship develop saw red flags all over the place. You will hear from them in this trial. She would berate him, scream at him. He would try to appease her, and sometimes, just sometimes, things would get better. But it would always happen again. He would try to get away, avoid the conflict. But his trying to leave enraged Ms. Heard. She would resort to physical violence, throwing things at him, hitting him. She would tell him he was a coward. She would tell him he wasn't man enough because he wouldn't stay and fight with her. You will see that Ms. Heard equated anger and violence with passion. She would apologize with poetic excuses, as if the violence just proved how fierce and overwhelming her love for him was.
That was such a scary part of the tape. Like her violence was a way of showing how much her passion and love is. All factual. I think Camille's doing an amazing job painting this picture. Laura, were you feeling the energy there?
I agree. Oh, we do. We know the audios. I want to fight. I want to fight. Why do you keep leaving when I want to fight? I want to fight. I mean, it's like you hear about these people who want to fight so they can have sex to make up. It's just a terrible dynamic.
Factual.
You will hear from Mr. Depp's security people, like Sean Bett, about how they often had to remove Mr. Depp from scenes with Ms. Heard, screaming at him, chasing him, trying to keep him from leaving. You're going to hear evidence that when Mr. Depp and Ms. Heard traveled together, his team routinely had to book an extra room for him so that he had somewhere to go when Ms. Heard became enraged.
Now, this is going to get confirmed again by the sister who booked those rooms. But yes, the reveal that he had to book a separate hotel room just to make sure he had a place to leave his wife when she would become enraged. I can't even fathom. That's just such red flag city, but just goes to show you how connected he was to her and refused to sort of accept the warning signs.
You'll hear from other witnesses, including Mr. Depp and Ms. Heard's marriage counselor.
Now, Laura, I didn't know about this. Did you know the marriage counselor? Was this new?
Well, we knew there was one because that's what the audio tapes must have come from, right? Some kind of counseling.
Right.
We only assumed it was marriage counseling.
But yeah, the fact that the marriage counselor, let's play the quote again.
Her name is Dr. Laurel Anderson.
The doctor, marriage counselor who saw these two together, who's usually supposed to be unbiased, right, and help the couple.
Who perceived Ms. Heard as the aggressor in the relationship. Ms. Heard as the aggressor in the relationship.
Now, that's like, what? I need to know more. Who was this person? How long did they see her? But if that's connected to tapes, this was an ongoing real doctor who has now stepped up to say this, because I know they have some doctor in Amber's defense. Her therapist now came out of the woodwork, they mentioned, to say, oh, she has all these notes to recollect. But I love that we now have a marriage counselor who's there. Well, no, I talked to them both, and Amber was absolutely the aggressor because, look, you can lie to your therapist. I don't know why people waste the money, but you can do it. If you really believe it, you'll lie even to the therapist. And that sort of defeats the whole point of therapy, but I can totally imagine Amber likes to tell her therapist whatever and just pays her to hear what she wants to hear. Yeah, to know the counselor, in theory, was diagnosing that she was the aggressor is hugely telling.
The one who would strike Mr. Depp to try to keep him from leaving.
I love that she reminded everybody.
You'll hear from medical professionals who were with Mr. Depp and Ms. Heard, often on a daily basis, for years.
And she stopped making eye contact.
David Kipper.
Yep. Huge body language reveals.
And Ms. Heard's personal nurse, her personal assigned nurse, Erin Barem Falati, who did not see any signs of injuries that Ms. Heard later testified to in graphic detail.
So the nurse, her own nurse, I guess was paid by Johnny, is what they're going to keep trying to say. Like, oh, all these people are on Johnny's payroll, so they're all going to perjure themselves for him because, that's what people do. No one has a conscience or a soul. That's how Amber and her team think about everything. It blows my mind. So you have a marriage counselor, you have a nurse. There's the police officers. All these people are allegedly on Johnny's payroll, right, Laura?
Right. That's what it's all going to be. And to a certain extent it is, but at the same point, these people could get jobs anywhere. They stayed with this man for decades and decades and decades, and they're not leaving him. They're just not loyal to him because he pays them. They obviously like working for him. Kate James said that, her assistant. I know that we're going to touch on that, but I remember she was saying she was so hoping to be part of the team so she could work for Johnny because he's so nice to everyone.
Right.
And Amber was such a bitch to her.
Yep.
Ms. Heard wants you to ignore the testimony of these medical professionals who saw her in real time.
I want to reiterate what she just said. Ms. Heard wants you to ignore the testimony of the experts who saw her in real time. That is so factual, and that's such an important thing because in listening to both arguments, that's exactly what they want. They want to bring their own experts in and ignore the other ones.
Just as she wants you to ignore the testimony of the police officers who testified under oath, who saw her on May 21st, 2016, without any injuries. But it is up to you, ladies and gentlemen of this jury, to judge the credibility of these witnesses and that of Ms. Heard. In this trial, Ms. Heard will undoubtedly present photos that supposedly show injuries she sustained as a result of the claimed abuse by Mr. Depp. Here's what you should keep in mind when you see these photographs.
Now, this is important because I'm going to play Amber's lawyer's response to this, but we know this because we reported it here. If you watch, if you haven't, what are you waiting for? Hit that subscribe button. You'll be able to comment. You'll be able to get all our alerts. Hit the bell. Thank you, guys. Smash the like button. Leave a comment. Keep the support coming. Love you guys. I see it. We have so much to go through, though. Apologies for delaying your comments, but I see you. You'll get involved. But yes, this is imperative. If you haven't been watching, she's going to say it again.
First, the evidence and expert testimony from a forensic pathologist, a doctor, will show that the injuries reflected in these photographs are not consistent with the brutal allegations of abuse Ms. Heard has alleged.
Doctor.
Second, there are multiple witnesses, including medical professionals and police officers, who will testify that they did not observe the injuries supposedly reflected in these photographs.
Doctor, witnesses, including cops.
And you may be wondering, how can that be? Well, you will hear expert testimony that none of these photographs are the originals, not one. And many are stored in an editing program. So they could have been manipulated and cannot be confirmed as authentic.
Now, the problem with this art defense, I am going to warn everybody, they're both going to have some expert, because it's easy to pay an expert to come argue about photos, and they're going to have an expert that basically cancels each other out. But I will tell you, if they don't have the originals, something could have gone wrong. That's the sad reality. We don't know for sure. It may not have, but the metadata can tell you a lot, and if these really are, in fact, not the originals, it looks super shady. Doesn't mean she faked it. Doesn't mean it's proof she faked it. But it just does mean, Amber, why didn't you give the originals so we could actually have this agreed upon, right? That's where the problem is. So while you're going to see experts on both end argue about the logistic, the reality of these photos, just know Amber didn't follow the judge's orders to do it the proper way to nip this in the bud. And that's hugely telling. Hugely telling. It was such an easy thing she could have done if those photos were real. Why didn't she do the process correctly? Don't forget that as we get moving forward.
And there's not a single photograph or video showing Mr. Depp becoming physically violent towards Ms. Heard.
Now, and I love that she said it, and they need to say it over and over again. There is no proof, no video, no photos, no nothing of Johnny doing what Amber says. There's nothing, right? Go ahead, Laura.
Can I jump in here? I don't know if you know about her expert witness guy that they're using. Is it IDS? I can't remember the name of the company. Here in Washington is the one that she wants to use. They're connected to the same company that did the imaging in the UK. It's the same company together. So what precipitated this was the one in the UK came up with, these are showing possibilities of alterations. This metadata is messed up, which is what prompted Judge Ascarate to order the imaging here in the U.S. But the two companies are connected. They're under the same umbrella. And Elaine, I found a couple other cases where she's used them before. Just
Interesting.
Throwing that out there.
Interesting. Well, there you go. Even more sketchy.
And they don't have the same credentials as the expert that JD's team has. Like if you look at the credentials, they're just massively different as far as credibility.
Right? All proof that this all looks like she's not wanting to do it legitly, which I don't understand. If you had those photos, why not have your third party, like they all were supposed to do, make sure it's the way it is. So there's no doubting those photos.
The other thing I kind of want to mention too, if it's okay.
Oh, sorry, yeah.
Sorry, is just, and it's in our public doc that we can share with you guys at the end of the show, that Johnny actually filed a motion earlier basically saying that the court had ordered Amber to turn over the pictures.
Yep.
And it was in a specific type of manner that they wanted it to be given. And they just bombed him with evidence. So there was 58,000 pictures or something like that, which they were like, this is not what we agreed upon from the court of how you would give this. And then under further investigation, they also found out that the programs that they were using to analyze these photos were extremely outdated and not even licensed. So
and in addition to that, the dates that they were added to it are from the 80s and 90s before the coding and file systems
70s.
And the data was even invented, and she wasn't even born.
And we waited for bated breath what this order was going to be, and we never got an order, but here they're talking about photos. So in some way, they're coming in some fashion, and we don't know whether there's going to be some kind of notification from the judge or what.
It does seem like the lawyers said they could be fake. It seems like she must have just said, yes, you can argue that they're fake. That's the vibe I got.
I'm going to have to run. Is there anything else you want to hit me up with?
No, well, yeah, the other thing, we're going to go through Amber's, spoiler alert, as we get to Amber's take, the take was, this case is about the First Amendment. We just listened to all Johnny's big, drops it all, fire, proof, evidence. We're going to give it to you all. This woman's lying and abusive. And then the response from Amber, which we'll play in a minute. Guys, I want you to pay attention. This is about the First Amendment. Did that shock you when you heard it? Like they're literally just admitting we're gonna fight for this technicality versus the truth.
Well, they've been pushing that with the anti-slap. That's their whole basis of defense. Is if we got to get them all to just forget about abuse. Like, it doesn't matter whether Amber Heard was abused or not. It's just that she was talking about women's experiences. So we should just ignore the fact that's what they're going to try and go with.
Right.
I'll jump to Christy, and you can come back to her. I'm not sure they should have opened with Christy because it was a very slow process for her. But they hit some really hardcore emotional stuff. Getting it started. She held well at the end. She's coming back tomorrow. And I'm going to have to go, Andy. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no worries. Come back another time. We'll keep you next anytime you want. I appreciate it. Go rest.
Laura.
Good luck tomorrow on the trial. Really glad to have you.
For all you do. Thank you.
Thank you so much,
Thank
Laura.
you.
The real Laura B,
Bye-bye.
guys, she's there. She's there. So grateful to have her make some time. We'll be getting as many people if we can, but they're sitting all day. A lot of people are streaming all day, and then we gotta respect that time so they can charge up and be there tomorrow. So stay tuned. We will get her back and others. But going back to where we were, let's finish this out.
Injury during their relationship was a severe one, and it was sustained by Mr. Depp. After the wedding, again, people close to Mr. Depp encouraged him to consider a postnuptial agreement. When the topic came up, Ms. Heard became outraged, as she always did, at the suggestion that Mr. Depp might leave her. She berated him, and when he tried to leave, she became violent. She became so violent, in fact, she threw a vodka bottle at him that hit his hand and exploded.
This is my favorite moment.
It severed the end of one of his fingers.
Look for it.
You'll see pictures of Mr. Depp's severed finger.
Did you catch that little, like the little whoopsie gif? I got to make that the Johnny Depp whoops. It's like crazy because he's like, you're going to see the pictures. He's like, ugh, you guys aren't going to like those pictures. But again, proving the fact that the only moment of abuse actually was his severed finger, which she caused.
Later, after the false claims of abuse that caused Mr. Depp to file this very lawsuit, Ms. Heard came up with an elaborate story about what actually happened, according to her, in Australia. And what she said happened was that it was a 3-day hostage affair, an episode, where she was violently attacked and then sexually assaulted by Mr. Depp.
The fact that this now it's about, I don't want to keep repeating that word, guys. Hopefully you heard it. But the fact that she's now claiming that is shocking to me. That's never, Robin, right? Back me up. She's never claimed that in all the years until it seems like just the last couple of years, out of nowhere. Oh, yeah, he also did this. Does that surprise you?
It doesn't surprise me that she would make up something like that, and it sounds like she took it. It sounds like someone else's story that she stole again, because that would have been something to bring up a long time ago if it really happened, and it's far more traumatic than half the stuff that she's accusing him of.
Correct. It's so weird she'd focus on that later, as if it's like not as big of a deal.
And then the name dropping and bringing another big famous person into it that has known Johnny Depp for so long, and that they have such a close relationship with, and because they're an aging rocker who has tons of rumors from 50, 60 years ago, you're
talking about the Marilyn Manson. I was like, wait, the Amber's team. Amber's team does. Yeah.
Keith Richards into it?
Keith Richards, yeah.
Oh, it's Keith Richards. Oh, sorry. Yes. Well, Amber's team also brought up Marilyn Manson. Like, he was on a bender with him, as if it was
right
just
away.
Like, yeah, it was kind of crazy. Like, real. Clearly. But yes, he. I guess you're correct. The Keith Richards connection.
But now she's dragging Keith Richards into it as an accomplice.
Yeah, it was his fault.
He's a bad influence. He's the OG rocker, or whatever.
You'll see for yourself that the evidence does not support the story she told after she was sued. You will hear from Mr. Depp and other witnesses, including their marriage counselor, Dr. Laurel Anderson, that Ms. Heard would go to great lengths and even resort to physical violence to stop Mr. Depp from leaving her. But once Mr. Depp did leave, Ms. Heard tried to avoid public humiliation and present herself as a noble survivor and representative of the Me Too movement. The evidence will show that Ms. Heard used her allegations against Mr. Depp to raise her own profile and to advance her own career. The very same day that the op-ed was published, under the title, quote, "I spoke up against sexual violence," end quote.
She did it as a tweet.
That article that's now displayed on your screens and the title on her Twitter page, right along with an announcement that she was becoming an ACLU ambassador on women's rights to make sure that, quote, "women and girls can live free from violence," end quote. The evidence will show that was a lie. Ms. Heard, as you know, is an actress. When she accused Mr. Depp of abuse and painted herself before the world as a representative of abuse victims everywhere, Ms. Heard took on the role of a lifetime.
I love that. She took on the role of a lifetime.
She can't back down. She has been living and breathing this lie for years now. And she has been preparing to give the performance of her life in this trial.
This is the performance of her life. I mean, facts.
But this trial is about the evidence. It's about a man's reputation. And it's about his whole life. His ability to walk down the street, look people in the eye, without having them think he's an abuser. It's about the truth. And the truth will come out in this trial. At the end of this trial, we will ask you to render a verdict for Mr. Depp. We will ask you to tell the world that he is not the abuser she described, and that she is not the victim she portrayed. And we will ask you to tell Ms. Heard that what she did was wrong.
Oh, love that. What a great little ending. We're going to ask you to tell her what she did was wrong, because they're really playing on the heartstrings there of the truth, right? Of just like, this is all the damage. They went through a lot more damage stuff that I sort of took out and stuff because it's clear. But yeah, I mean, they really wanted to hammer at the end. Like, we want you guys to be despicable of her, as so many are. So at the end, you really don't just do the right thing, but you really tell her this was wrong. And I love that they're already setting that tone right away, because I think that's the most crucial part of this, right? To get proper justice, we got to really own up. So, and then real quick, I don't have as much of the Amber. We're going to go through, because I was trying to edit this. It took a while to edit this. That's why I need help. We're going to sort out a better clip system for tomorrow's. It's hard to keep notes and clip while still watching and keeping it all. But we're going to figure it out for you guys. So stay tuned, and thank you for the support as we figure out the best way moving forward to make sure. But I got a little bit of the Amber part, but I'm going to be honest, it was hard to get through the Amber part just because it was so much word salad. But let's start here first with Amber's attorney. Hold on, what's his name?
That are designed.
I'll make sure I get the names properly. This is Ben.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have his last name here. It's Ben something.
I can't remember.
Why all
There's
those
been so much
inflammatory
today. I
things?
apologize.
Yeah, no. So
Why
here's
all
Ben.
those inflammatory things are things that are designed to mislead you from the truth.
So everything you just heard, jury, let's pretend we're all the jury for a moment. Everything is there to mislead you and distract you guys.
She'll explain to you what the evidence will show. And that's something that we're going to focus on in this trial, not attempts to distract you.
We're not going to just, oh, right. Amber's team's not going to, this was the most, I was already like, what? Really? You're calling them distraction? Like, all they do this whole 20 minutes, 45 minutes is distractions. Go ahead. Sorry, Kim.
I was going to say, I don't think it really matters which side of any case that you're on. There's always a level of distraction from each team, right? Because they're like, we don't want you to think about this. We want you to think about this. That's normal. It's just such a ridiculous claim to make in the first place. Sorry, that just bothers me. Just trying to stay unbiased. It bugs me.
And it's like, immediately they're like, guys, everything you hear from them is lies. We're going to tell you the truth.
Yeah. And it's like projection. It's like, okay, I'm about to tell you something about the other side, which is me telling you exactly what I'm about to do, which is just distract you.
Here we go.
We're going to focus on the evidence. Not what we wish the evidence showed, not some crazy conspiracy theories, but what the evidence and the facts actually show. And as you assess the evidence in this trial, I would ask that you keep one question in mind above all else, which is this: why are you here? What are you being asked to decide? You're being asked to decide a very simple question. And that question is, were the words, that Amber used in the December 18, 2018 opinion piece that was published in the Washington Post protected free speech under the First Amendment or not? That is the question.
That is the question, guys. It doesn't matter if it was true. It doesn't matter who's more credible. At the end of the day, what they just said, this is how they opened it, guys. What matters is her First Amendment rights to say it, because Virginia just freed up our ability to throw this away because it's a public interest story. So she's just talking about public interest things, and there's no way this was about Johnny. And even if it was, it doesn't matter because it's her First Amendment right, guys. Oh my God, if that's how this ends, I'm going to be livid. I'm going to be livid. And I hope the people of Virginia who are listening to this case, the jurors, I hope to God they really think this through and don't just bow out on a technicality, because if they sit through this for 5 to 6 weeks and the verdict is, well, yeah, technically it's a public interest, so I guess she has a right. It doesn't matter if she did it or not, he did it or not. Yeah, there you go, she's off. Oh my God, it's gonna be so maddening. So to hear them just double in of like, yep, that's our take. We're not even gonna try to discredit. It doesn't. We're not gonna give you evidence. We're not gonna prove anything. Hey, First Amendment right for her to say whatever the hell she wants, guys.
And that's what you're being asked to decide. At the end of the trial, the judge will explain to you what the law is on defamation and what Mr. Depp's burden is to prove in order to establish defamation.
Now, here's where get ready for more of a headache and anger. He's about to explain to you, which sadly is he's right in the law. It's Johnny Depp's responsibility to prove that he didn't abuse Amber Heard. I mean, try to make that make sense. She makes the accusation, which is defamatory, but he has to prove that that's false and say that he didn't do it. So she can just say whatever she wants. Yeah, well, in private he did. It's my word versus his. I told you. And now he can't prove something that didn't happen, and therefore, well, it must have happened then. I mean, guys, how frustrating is this? That's the reality. Kim, can you imagine, Kim, I just said something horrible about you, but I did it in private. You must prove that I did it in private, or I didn't, it's true. I said it. That's literally what this is. Can you imagine how frustrating that would be?
Incredibly. It's just, this whole thing is so messed up.
It's
I don't know how else to put it. It's just.
And it's frustrating because it's if that's really how they want to win, that's after all we're going through, everything's on the line. She wants to win on technicalities like this, of legal technicalities. That's not winning.
I think people misunderstand, though, your First Amendment right protects your right to speak and be heard in public. It doesn't absolve you of the ability to be scrutinized and have your comments scrutinized in the public sphere. If you speak in public, you have to back up what you say. Otherwise, you're quacking.
Yeah.
You can say whatever you want, but you in public, but you still have to sit there and take your public scrutiny. If you want to walk out, that's fine, but she can't walk out of here.
No.
Yeah,
Your First Amendment right does not free you from consequence.
Exactly.
Nope.
And then Team Britney, I just saw your comment. I'll get to comments, guys. Keep the comments. I appreciate you. Linda, who did amazing work. I'm free to be me. Thank you so much. The guy's name is Ben Rottenborn. Well, you couldn't have written that any better. Rottenborn, Jesus. Team, thank you for that, Linda.
Goes great with Fartlow and Turd.
Exactly. Fartlow and Fartlow and Rottenborn and Turd.
I can't.
Team Britney though said a good point. If it's only if it's only about First Amendment, then why are you bringing in all the details, photo, etc. It's.
That Mr. Depp will have to prove that the words Ms. Heard used were about him and that they were false. And if he can't do that, and if he can't meet the other elements of the claim, then he loses that claim. And he can't do that.
Because there's no proof that he did it. That's really the problem here, right? There's no proof that he did it, so therefore he didn't. There's no proof that he didn't do it, guys. So I guess we just say it. So you can't prove I didn't do that. I sort of understand how it makes sense in a defamation. You're saying, well, you defame me, so I must prove that that's false. But in such a private thing situation, an accusation like this, and it's a he said, she said, I don't know. I think it does get more complicated. And then the person who said it should have to prove it. You shouldn't be able to put statements out there without being able to prove it. Amber should have to prove it is what the frustration here is, right? Well, he did abuse me. Here's why. But no, it's not the way. So just know, again, the hill that Johnny has to climb to win this, and he's still choosing to fight it. Again, he must feel confident, right?
He can't come close to doing that. And for that reason, you're going to hear in this trial, Mr. Depp's team is going to make it about trying to distract you from that very simple question.
They're going to distract you with the evidence and the credibility issues, but that doesn't matter, guys. That's distractions, Jedi mind tricks, because what really matters is, hey, she's allowed to say what she wants, and you can't prove he didn't do it. This is literally how it's starting up. This is why I was getting so frustrated.
Mr. Depp's team is going to try to turn this case into a soap opera. Why? I'm not really sure, because the evidence isn't pretty for Mr. Depp.
Oh, like the evidence is pretty for Amber. Like she's not responsible for this soap opera too. You scumbag.
Who has been spinning this narrative of making it a soap opera?
Yeah,
right.
Who's the one who didn't move on when the settlement happened and had to become the abuse hero in public when she knew, and it was said in the said documents with the ACLU who were painting all this, that she had to be careful because, well, is this even legal to say? She knew it was not right. She still did it anyway. Who started the soap opera? Give me a break, you rotten born.
It's not. You're going to see who the real Johnny Depp is.
You're going to see who the real... So here, so this is ready. So then it steps in Elaine to show us the real Johnny Depp. Now, she talked for like 45 minutes, guys. I'm sorry. I couldn't do it again. If you want to go watch it, there are 100 links you can go watch. I'm not sitting through it again. It is nonsensical.
I had to go take Advil. I'm not even kidding. It was just brutal.
Nonsensical word salad. One of the worst performances I've seen, and I'm not just saying that because of my stance. I really tried to listen to this. It was headache-inducing in just the performance. And you got to remember, this is a performance, guys. These lawyers are doing performances with facts and evidence and case. It's all there is. Theatrics are important too. Don't tell me both Johnny and Amber weren't. What do we wear? What do I look? Who do I do? All of it, everything, the way you act in these courtrooms is incredibly important because it's how the jury's going to perceive you. And Elaine, man, she whiffed it. I mean, this was such a miss, in my opinion. She just was tasked with sort of painting the picture, which I think Johnny's team did paint pretty well. If I was out of this and I was listening to him, I'd be like, well, damn, this sounds pretty bad. All right, yeah, and I like Johnny Depp. Probably, right? A lot of these people are like, yeah, he's a good actor. This really sucks. All right, we're listening, Johnny. And then it comes back to the other team, and they're like, well, he's got to prove it, guys, that he didn't do it. Oh, and by the way, it's a First Amendment right. She's allowed to say whichever she wants. So you're like, all right. And then came Elaine and begins. And I have a few clips of her.
Ben told you we will be relying on the evidence rather than the hyperbole and the personal attacks. And he was right. The evidence in this case, simply put, is overwhelming and compelling. In the 6 weeks, we're going to try to show you as much as we possibly can. There are many, many, many photographs.
Okay, so here we go. What's the evidence? Photographs. Oh, really? The ones that we just heard weren't accurate?
Now, you heard Ms. Vasquez try to say, you can't trust those as not the originals. She's got that wrong. It's not from the original devices. Ms. Heard took all kinds of photographs, and her friends took photographs, and all of those remained on the cloud, and all of them have been imaged, and all of them have been examined by their IT experts, and they cannot discredit one photograph.
Okay, that's a lie. That's a complete lie. A complete lie. I want to clip this because it was the best example I could show of just how she's just word vomiting. And I'm not trying to make it political. I'm not even trying to tell you whether I like the guy or not. But this was very Trumpian the way she did everything. And I will give Trump the most credit in the world. Fake news is real. You don't have to like the guy. I'm not trying to start a political war, but he is a genius in the way he speaks, just whatever, and people will just buy it. Is what I mean by that. Like, and she
use the best words.
Yeah,
all the best words.
Exactly. I use the best words. But he did love him or hate him. He's really good at just spinning bullshit, and a lot of people will buy it. And she's doing it right now. She's a carnival barker right now, just like, oh yeah, trust me, we got the most legitimate photos you've ever seen. You're gonna see the most epic, most realist photos. I'm telling you, they're telling you one thing, but guys, no. These photos, you're not gonna believe how great great. These are huge. These photos are huge, guys. The bruises are huge. I mean, we got they said some of the people didn't know, but I promise our people know. That's what I mean by that. It's just like, come on. It's ridiculous. This is not, it's all performance. And when she said this, I was like, oh my God, really? This is what it's going to become? Like, oh my God, we're talking about a soap opera. It's like start turning into Goodfellas.
Then she says, oh, and it's got a photo editing thing. Well, all iPhones have the photo editing. It's where you can make it a little lighter or darker. You can move it to the center or not.
Why is she the photo expert? It's like my mom up there explaining iPhone. Like, guys, well, it must be legit because it's in the cloud. I mean, they're imaged, guys, and they're from other phones, and they had every right to look at them, and blah, 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 blah. This was absurd. Sorry, go ahead.
Go ahead.
I don't mean this to be mean, because I mean, I have many in my life that I love very much, but I feel like this is like the personification of okay boomer. Like, it's just, what are you even talking about? You have no idea what you're talking about. You're just like, the words you're using, the terms you're using, the way you are describing things, you have no idea what you're talking about.
No idea.
Not a thing.
And again,
not a thing.
Go ahead, Robin.
And anyone with an Android or iPhone, I'm an Android person, I don't have an iPhone, knows. You take a picture on your phone, you open it up in the video or the photo editor. If you save whatever you do to it, it saves a new copy of the photo. The original photo is still there on the phone. So her entire argument is null and void and just shows she does not know what she's talking about.
Correct. I mean, she's just completely like Jedi mind tricking everyone. The distractions and pretending like she's the photo expert. She's like, we got people we got the realest guys. I promise, the most epic, most legit, most real photos you're ever going to see in this case.
Oh, and it's got a photo editing thing. Well, all iPhones have the photo editing. It's where you can make it a little lighter or darker. You can move it to the center or not. That doesn't discredit the photographs.
I mean, it could. You're actually wrong. You're opening up a whole can of worms.
Absolutely can.
What, I don't trust you as a photo expert, you weirdo. The hell are you talking about?
Think of it this way: color correction. Color correction alone is huge.
There are apps. There are filters now in every app that could add
just
things.
The auto filter.
Yeah, it's like, what are you talking about? The metadata on those photos is incredibly important, and you don't get to just wave your wand and tell me that they're the best photos, so just believe my word. You're allowed to lie. You're not under oath, lawyer. You're literally allowed to lie. We've learned that. Like, she doesn't have to be honest. The people under oath have to be honest. And so this is ridiculous.
We will have an IT expert who will testify that all of these are legitimate, authentic photographs.
Okay, guys, they have an IT expert. Trust me.
That's
he
not
works
who I
for my
care about.
Uncle Louie. He's the best IT expert. He has the best photos. He knows all the best about the apps and the darkening and the squeezing and the lightning. Trust me, guys. Nobody knows how to Instagram a photo like my Uncle Louie. He's an IT expert over at the at that place, in the corner. He's great. Just trust me, okay? He's really.
We don't need Moss coming over and telling us to turn it on and off again to be able to tell whether or not the photo can be edited. I'm sorry. I want a photo editing expert. I want a photo expert, not an IT expert. I don't need you to make me an account on the corporate, server. It's just ridiculous. I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's
and she just straight up lied, saying, oh, they have an IT expert. They couldn't find anything wrong. You mean the entire document of sanctions they filed like 2 weeks ago that says everything is wrong about the photos? You mean those? That IT expert? Yeah, that's the one.
Again, it's not like we're just trying to be here to stand in Johnny. I'm really trying to be fair. And sometimes you guys get mad at me because I'm trying to be fair, but I'm going to be fair because that's what I want to do here. It's just so hard to not be Team Johnny. Like, this is your opening argument? You're really going to we got the best photos. We got an IT guy. Yeah, I could find an IT guy to tell you your IT guy's wrong. I want to talk about who did the judge want. How did the judge want these photos to come through? There was an order, and you didn't follow it. Why? Why? It was in both your best interest. Johnny was going to pay their expert, the third party. There was a lawyer he hired to do it all. It's insane that she couldn't just follow that protocol to get these photos done. Because let's be honest, guys, I want everything in this to be real. If I'm wrong on Johnny, I want to know, right? And if those photos turned out to be true, then we got to own it. We got to. We can't just pretend to no, la, 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 la. If those photos are real, we need to know. And the fact that she couldn't let us verify those photos is so telling to me. So telling. If I had someone important to me who was abused and the photos could prove it, I would be like, give those, keep that. Let's protect it. Let's do it the right way. But give that to any expert we need to, because they're absolutely real. Check out the metadata. There's nothing wrong with these photos. I dare you to tell me that photo is not real. That's what you do. And it's insane that we're supposed to believe her and Uncle Louie.
But Ms. Heard produced all of her different devices over the years, including her most recent laptop.
Well, she's all just spitballing. She's literally, and again, I don't want to keep bringing up the name because I know it's creating a politics fight, but I'm just using him as an example of someone who just is good at just sort of spinning a yarn sometimes, right? And the reality is, like, she literally just said, and I don't think she remembers it, some of these photos came from her friends' phones. Oh, okay, what? That means you don't have the original. That means if Amber gave all her devices like you just said, well, did her friends give the devices? Like you just admitted that's not the original photos, and she doesn't even acknowledge it.
And they were pulled
also,
from
did she
many,
just say
many...
something about a laptop?
Yeah.
Like, is she taking pictures with a laptop?
Apparently, I guess.
What is happening?
Okay, boomer.
Sources, and all of them are identical. So if she was going to go in and try to manipulate, she would have to do it everywhere. And Ms. Heard will tell you she doesn't have that level of talent. There may be a couple of you on.
I love that. Amber Heard definitely doesn't have talent. I'll agree with her on that one.
Instagram filters, they don't take talent, guys. I'm sorry.
She's literally like, well, it was on so many. I'm sorry to hype on this one, but it's, again, this is what we're up against.
Or not. That doesn't discredit the photographs, and we will have an IT expert who will testify that all of these are legitimate, authentic photographs. Not only that, but Ms. Heard produced all of her different devices over the years, including her most recent laptop, and they were pulled from many, many sources, and all of them are identical. So if she was going to go in and try to manipulate, she would have had to do it everywhere. And Ms. Heard will tell you she doesn't have that level of talent. There may be a couple of you on the jury who have that talent. She does not have that talent.
Oh, great. Well, I hope someone on the jury has that talent so they can see through your bullshit, Elaine, because
she could have just gone on Fiverr and hired somebody, but whatever.
And the fake photo that she has, that's the same fake photo she has in all the other. What are you talking about? What you said makes no sense. She just spit out words to try to make it. This was the whole opening. Just spitting out words.
They're all very legitimate photographs, and listen carefully.
The most legitimate, the best photos, the best bruises. I'm telling you, we got bruises on bruises. You're never going to buy it. It's just like unbelievable. The best photos. I'm telling you, they're huge. I'm huge.
To the evidence from the experts, and you will find every single piece is authenticated and is true. And they show bruises, and they show cut lips. They show hair pulled out of her hair. What?
Okay, I can't wait to see these photos. Because
what? Hair pulled out of her hair too.
The great. Cut. You're almost setting up. Okay, well, we'll get there. This trial's going to be a while, but we'll get there.
All kinds. They show two black eyes when he headbutted her. He wants to be out there and succeed, and he doesn't want her to take roles. He starts controlling what she wears.
So now Johnny Depp is the controlling one. Is now the spin. We're switching it. Johnny doesn't want her to do anything, any movies, etc. Even though Johnny's constantly trying to leave the room. No, Johnny's the one who's the controlling one.
He starts looking at her lines when she tries out for places. He nixes any romance scenes, sex scenes.
Look at his reaction to that.
He accuses her of sleeping with every single one of her co-stars.
I think she just didn't want her to keep screwing James Franco and Elon Musk. I think that's really what it was. And you conveniently don't have them on the docket, so sadly we don't get to really prove how honest and innocent Miss Amber Heard is. But okay,
a cycle of that, a control as well, emotional abuse as you go. But what's also significant in that is the property damage, and that's a hard one for Mr. Depp to be able to escape when he's claiming that he's such a docile thing and that it's all Ms. Heard. You're going to see
baby body cams.
What? Yeah. What evidence?
On mirrors, horrible things to her. Writes on lampshades, on clothing, on countertops.
Look at him.
In Australia, when you heard Ben talk about Australia, he wrote the third day as Amber comes out after she's barricaded herself and gone through a lot, and I'll back up on that in a minute. She comes out.
What?
He's got mashed potatoes spread across the top. He's written along the wall of the staircase going down all kinds of nasty things about her, and Billy Bob Thornton, the last one she was.
What the fuck is she saying, guys? Mashed potatoes?
He's like, what? Mashed potato?
All kinds of things like that. And then he's written on the lampshades downstairs.
He's written on the lampshades? What?
And then he's got more on the mirrors. And then, on top of it, you've got all the broken glass everywhere, and you've got the liquor everywhere, and it's just, and then he's urinated, tried to urinate.
And he puked, and I heard he did a big dump on the floor too, because right, it wasn't and then he just poured a bunch of Gatorade, and then he Cheerios, and oh my God, he just started stomping on Twinkies, and it just was like chaos, and then live rats were just running around, and oh my God, like holy shit.
Cats and dogs living together.
Throw the kitchen sink, why don't you leave? Holy crap. Then aliens came down and they urinated. It was just horrific.
And don't forget, the Yorkshire Terriers need their anal butt glands squeezed every 6 weeks.
Oh, anyway, so you get the gist. I wanted to. Did we find? Linda was looking at it. Okay, there we go. I think she found us the poo talk. As if it couldn't even get worse. 30. Thank you. We got it right when we needed it. Linda, you rock. Casey, everybody else, amazing work.
Her birthday. The next day, she and her friends went to Coachella, but his housekeeper had come in to clean after that. Always did. And the housekeeper had found some, feces on the bed. And had been upset about it and taken a picture and sent it to him. So all of a sudden, a month later, he's got it in his head that Amber has conspired with her friends to defecate on the bed. It's human, not dog, even though they got 2 dogs and one of them has major problems. You'll hear about Boo and Pistol. And somehow Amber was doing this so he would get back there. And
I think someone could tell the difference between dog poop and human poop. I'm sorry. I don't think he's that dumb. I think he would. It's pretty big difference. They're little dogs, right, Robin?
Yes, I've taken care of Yorkshire Terriers, so I'm very familiar with the breed and dog breeds and veterinary care.
And not to be crude, you're familiar with, say, your own feces, right? Would you say that...
I have 2 children.
Yeah, would you say adult feces and Yorkshire feces aren't the same?
I would like to say, I have 2 dogs that are both under 10 pounds. I'm well aware of what they are capable of producing. And I've seen the photos, and it don't add up.
No, it doesn't add up. And Yorkshire Terriers in particular have severe butt issues. Like I said, I wasn't kidding. They have to go to the vet every 6 weeks and get their anal butt glands drained.
Well, they should be getting that at the groomer, but too,
they can do that at the groomer.
Different discussion.
They can do it at the groomer too, but yes, if you don't do that for your Yorkshire Terrier,
oh my God,
it will have serious issues.
So, all right, but regardless of Poopgate, of Amber Turd's Poopgate, I can't believe she brought this up, guys. Like, she's talking for so long, she's all over the place with the word salad, and now she's just like, oh, by the way, hey, Johnny thinks that he pooped in her bed. Like, literally, these jurors are hearing the story for the first time, and she's adding a moment about, Johnny thinks he pooped in her bed, but hey, they're dogs, and the dog, like, the story doesn't even make sense. Like, you're not even telling me you can prove it was dog poop over human poop. Wait, who pooped on what bed? Like, it's just so weird how all over the place. It's like she didn't even prepare. Like, she's just there, like, throwing everything out to put it all out there. And I think it was a huge mistake.
Find it, even though he had no intention of coming back, and even though the housekeeper was there. And he won't lose it. He won't get rid of it. He's just obsessed with it. Then he decides that it's Io Tillett Wright who did it, even though Io wasn't at the birthday party and wasn't even in town.
She then brings up Io. It's like, who's Io? And why are we talking about who pooped on the bed?
So Amber gets Io on the phone. Io's in New York. And she says, this is what Johnny says. Can you please just calm him down? Tell him this isn't true. Tell him we didn't do it. We don't have a conspiracy here. And Io's thinking, what? And you'll hear from Io. He'll say, Amber's fecal phobia. I mean, she can't even, she's so embarrassed about that stuff. She would never conspire, never do anything like that.
She has fecal phobia, guys. Then we have a new...
She has a child!
We have a new word, and she has a baby, but she has fecal phobia. So apparently she can't change them dirty diapers of Una, is it? Oh, poor Una can't get her dirty poop diaper changed because of fecal phobia now. Amber managed to add another disorder and issue to the long list And now it's fecal phobia. She could have never pooped on a bed.
To him.
How are you dealing with the Yorkshires pooping everywhere if you have fecal phobia?
So they're kind of laughing at the absurdity of it, and that was the biggest mistake, because that triggered his anger. And then he started hitting Amber. He grabbed the cell phone from her, wound it up, and bashed it into her face. And you will see the pictures, you will see the bruise there, and you'll see the form of it there. Now, I was very, very upset. He's worried because he knows about the December 15, 2015, and he says, Amber, get out of there, get out of there. You know, are you safe? You know, get out of there. You know, as Johnny's storming around, and he calls Rocky, who lives next door, and then he calls 911. And it's not clear, you know, whether Amber said call 911 or he said call 911, but he calls 911. But he's in New York. And he's genuinely concerned.
This is the worst storytelling I've ever heard.
This honestly reminds me of when that senator was trying to explain the internet and said that it was a series of tubes. Like, it just didn't make any sense.
What, it wasn't Al Gore?
You, Kim.
I thought it was Al Gore. Oh my God! Like, guys, I'm sorry. I can't.
You can't put it in the truck and then put it. It's a tubes. It's a series of tubes.
She's just going off on like these weird yeah, and then this, and then and then this person came out that I haven't introduced to the story yet. Oh, but wait, that person called this, and then and then another person I haven't really mentioned. Remember the guy I told you about 10 guys ago? Well, now he's back, and then he said this, and it's literally like the worst storytelling. And I'm sorry, but that's what these are about. You got to have a very clear and concise story to the jury so they're following. And guys, Amber's team just dropped it big time. And it's a sense of where we're going to go and a sense of just like the frustration. It's part of the reason I didn't want to stream all day live, but we might do it from time to time. So stay tuned. But my God, it's frustrating to watch because they are just, there's no rhyme or reason to this. So anyway, there we have our open. You can go watch the full Amber. I may load that one over on Cactus as well. In fact, I think I will. So stay tuned. If you haven't already, mods that are there, if you can send over a link to Hugging the Cactus, I'm going to start posting some extra clips on that channel. There it is. I'll make sure I have it too. But the opening is up there. Again, it's not for views, just so you guys have another easy place for it. We may stream tomorrow there as well. So just a clear stream. So stay tuned. More trial clips will be coming over to Cactus. I made a new playlist. It's up top. I'll have important, reliable, relatable things that we're talking about there. Now, we had one other moment, which was the sister. Just to quickly go through it. Again, the big takeaway there was, you know, as Laura said, it was definitely like a little bit slower. The background on the sister is that not only did she, you know, grow up with Johnny and talk about how they played together and were very close, and the family life, as well as his mom and dad's relationship, which is sort of integral in the story. Her sister also was a business manager and worked for him and helped, you know, behind the scenes in a lot of things. And so they were trying to get a lot of information from her, just basically on the backstory, also her experience with Amber, so on and so on. That's really where this came out. Robin pulled this clip for us of sort of just talking about the mother and her bringing that up, which I can't imagine. This must have been really tough. But again, Johnny's putting it all out there because he's got nothing to hide, is how I see all this.
Did your mother ever get angry at Johnny?
Yes.
Did you ever observe your mother hitting Johnny?
Yes.
How, if at all, did Johnny react when his mother would hit him?
He was a typical little boy where if it hurt, he would cry. That was it. I mean, for the most part, he just wanted to get away from it.
Did Johnny ever hit his mother back?
No.
What about when he got to be an older boy? Did he ever resist or hit her back?
No. No. When he was older, even if she hit or threw things, he never went to that place. He would get away. He would, you know, leave the area, go to his room.
Ms. Dombrowski, did there come a time when you left the family household?
Yes.
When did you leave the household?
I left when I was 17. I was pregnant and got married and moved out into my own place.
How did it feel when you left the family to go out?
I think this is that was the relevant part there, but that was a very revealing moment where they are saying the tone there of the fact that, you know, Amber and his mom are very similar, and it really does makes sense, right? Of why they talked about how he'd cope by running away. Alexandra, I don't know if you're still watching. If Alexandra, if you want to jump on in the room again, feel free, because I saw you there, and I'm sorry I lost you and I saw you left. But if you have any thoughts on this one, feel free to jump in. Yeah, I mean, it's sad that he has to relive all this and bring it up, but it clearly connected, and also clearly shows a lot of his character and credibility in that. Yeah, he never hit back. This was something he watched his dad go through, and his dad, where he's learned how to handle this, is the same way his dad would, which is just to try and walk away and deal with it. And thoughts for Kim or Robin as you watch the sister open up about this?
I think it's relevant because it shows that by Johnny's nature, even from a small child as a teenager and then into adulthood, his reaction to people treating him negatively is not to react defensively or react violently. His nature is to retreat, and that is a consistent pattern of behavior he's maintained throughout his life. So I think that's setting it up so that they can't make the argument, well, he was with that way with her and no one else, because that just doesn't add up. It just doesn't.
Kim, thoughts?
Sorry, excuse me. Excuse me. I think it's interesting that you've got someone who is Team Johnny, and then you have Amber, who are both confirming that when fights break out, that he leaves. I think that's very telling.
Very.
Yeah, I mean, we hear that in audio. We've heard that experts are going to come forward over the days to express that. All right, so then we had one more clip of the sister that I thought was just we were pulling as everyone was talking about to prove, as we have in our title here, the fact that Amber was a bitter bully and jealous, I guess, of his Dior campaign.
On one occasion, because this one really stayed with me. On one occasion. I was at the office and I'd had a meeting with Dior, who had wanted to sit with Johnny and talk about, working together. And Amber had come in and asked if she was interrupting us, and we said no, and we weren't supposed to really talk about the meeting with anyone. But Johnny told Amber that I had just had a meeting with Dior, and that they were interested in him. Her reaction to that was she was in disbelief and sort of disgust because she said, Dior, why would Dior want to do business with you? They're about class and they're about style, and you don't have style. So it was the insulting kind of taking away that one moment. That insult is.
Ugh.
I've seen the insults multiple times actually.
What, if anything, did you hear Ms. Heard say about Mr. Depp's physical appearance?
She called him an old fat man.
What, ladies in the chat, is that true? ladies in the chat for Johnny, in case he's watching, throw those emojis up and tell me what you think. Is Johnny a fat old man? Because I don't see that. But Robin, you wanted to say something.
I was actually to say, them trying to assert that she was jealous of his Dior campaign brings up a clip that was after from Amber Heard's lawyer's opening statement towards the end, where she has the L'Oreal color correcting concealer palette and talking about how Amber Heard's gonna give us a makeup tutorial about how she covered up her bruises in the future, like foreshadowing to the future when Amber's going to testify and sit up on the stand and use her little L'Oreal color correcting palette to teach us all how she covered up her bruises.
Yeah, I guess so. I guess that's the future of her. Alexandra, let me know if you get your audio. Are you there? Is your audio sorted out?
Yep.
Yes.
Hey, welcome, Alexandra from yesterday, our psychologist reacting. Yeah, thanks for being here. Happy to have you here. I want to get to your thought just real quick to wrap up everything, and then I'm going to trim this. We'll get her thoughts. There was a little bit of back and forth between the sister and the lawyers when they were trying to basically talk about Johnny's drug use. They brought up these text messages. You know, did you ever tell Johnny that he had a problem with drugs? We talked about this with Laura a bit. It's a complicated thing there because they're trying not to get this in and added to the case. So she didn't really want to admit that she was trying to tell him that she had a problem, but I'm sure she did. Why she's a lot, it is what it is. But my frustration is, why does the correlation of him doing drugs mean he did what he did to Amber? It's a complete disconnect in my mind, and I don't understand why they keep doing it. There was another frustration throughout the whole trial, and I tweeted about it. They kept mentioning his blackouts. He would just be blackout drunk throughout these things. I'm sorry. There's a lot of people who drink and black out. That doesn't mean they get violent. And this assumption that we're supposed to believe that that leads to violence is just not true. It's just not true. Sure, it's happened, but it's not the definitive answer for, oh yeah, when you get blackout drunk, it means you punch people and you can't control yourself. Some people do. Some people have a blast. They're fun to be around, and they just crash. People handle alcohol differently, especially people who drink a lot of it. So yeah, it's a case by case, and so I'm sure a lot of you had blackout moments. Does that mean you punched your partner out? No. So this frustration and this tone that they keep putting out there in these sort of ways is really frustrating to watch. And to her credit, she navigated at the end, but there was like a 30-minute part where they kept just trying to get her to acknowledge, are these texts, did you tell Johnny to stop taking pills? And she was a little combative of like, well, I don't remember the context. I don't know what triggered it. It was 7 years ago. I don't really remember, but I'm sure she does, and I'm sure this was a conversation prior in how she sort of navigates, how she answers that question. But I also heard from Laura there, she didn't have a lot of time to prep it. We will continue that conversation tomorrow. That's how tomorrow's trial is going to begin. So we have a lot to hear more, and I'm sure they're going to be coaching her a little bit more, going through the text, figuring out how this will net. But she will be our first witness back tomorrow, along with others, as we break down the case. I'm going to go through all your comments. We're going to get Alexandra's thoughts. I'm not going anywhere, but I'm realizing we're a little long here, and I'm trying to keep my summaries concise, just so people who didn't get to watch get the rundown at the end of their day. So help me do me a favor, folks. Please get the word out that we're here, wrapping up every day's trial. We're putting a lot of work in. Thank you, Kim. Thank you to the amazing team behind the scenes. Linda, Casey, everybody. Kim, can you thank everybody who's been helping this?
Yes. I'm sorry. I'm just going to pull up my list here because I don't want to forget anybody. It's been a long day. Jean, Alexandra, Casey, Cara, Robin, Steph, Rebel, Linda, just all of you. Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Yeah, it's been incredible, and it was stressful for me because I had a lot of technical problems as I'm trying to edit this for you, and so we may have some new methods of how we do this. We may be streaming more, so bear with us. We're trying our best to cover it. If any of you out there feel like you can be clipping or helping throughout, please let us know. We're all just trying to do this for Johnny, get the word out there, so thank you. Also, I'm trying to get some more rally donations, because I might need to hire someone to help us clip it, because I know we've been having some trouble. So just know the funds this channel are going towards making sure I can properly cover this and put in that extra time, because this takes a lot of time to do right, and I'm trying my best to do it right. So bear with us. It's a long trial. I appreciate your support and watching. Live viewers, we are not done. Don't go anywhere. If you want to subscribe to make sure you get alerts when we're live, it's usually going to be right after the trial, maybe a few minutes after as we prep. So just know we're after every trial day. So hit that bell for alerts, leave a comment, smash the like button, and stay tuned. We'll be back again tomorrow, sometime around 5 when the trial ends. So make sure you stay tuned here to Popcorn Planet. Live viewers, we got still a few more things to talk about. Don't go anywhere.